Hello and welcome to Achievement Hunting 101. I'm FuFuCuddilyPoof, and this is level 243. Joining me tonight is Vulgar Latin.
Hi, I'm not Big Ell. He had diarrhea.
A lot of it. KooshMoose.
Hi, I am KooshMoose, and I'm doing well, thank you.
Good, no diarrhea. And joining us from across the pond, we have Chewie on Ice.
A pond full of diarrhea. Hello, Governor.
That's disgusting.
Isn't that just New Jersey?
I guess.
What is the British slang for diarrhea?
I don't know. We used to have this song that we used to sing in school. Like, it used to go something like, when it's coming out your bum like a bullet from a gun. Diarrhea, diarrhea.
Yeah, we had that song.
Yeah, driving in your Chevy and you're feeling something heavy.
Is this a dead?
Wow.
Does this constitute a dead horse yet?
Please, I hope so.
I think so.
The horse died of diarrhea, by the way.
Yeah.
Of course it did.
It's very deadly, actually.
Everywhere.
It's no laughing matter. It can really kill you.
Mm-hmm. It's enough to drown a horse. Yeah.
I don't even know where to go. Yeah. If it's
Well,
not
rehydration.
talk, apparently it's diarrhea talk.
The only place to go is restart.
Yeah.
Verbal diarrhea. But yeah, let's move on from that because this is this
Running
is gonna
into
be
everything.
upsetting for anyone that is eating on their lunch break. Could you imagine? They get on, they want to hear about video games, and here we're talking about diarrhea. All right, so yeah, question of the week is actually one that I came up with, and this one actually came from a conversation we were having during Halo on Thursday nights, and I thought it might be good for the show. And the question is, if Microsoft were to make a Smash clone, who would you want on the roster, and about what would you want the moveset to be? So, first off, let's kick it to Nate.
All right. Ahizo says, I'm going to keep it boring. Give me a Kirby clone in the form of Maul from all-time great masterpiece, The Maul. Yeah. I'm down. Chesno says, Voodoo Vince would be fun. I can see them do some creative things with his gimmick of damage himself to hurt you. Phil Spencer always says it was one of his favorite games he worked on. For a third-party game that was Xbox exclusive, Blue Dragon would be cool. A swordsman with a dragon-like stand from JoJo. I know those are words, but I don't understand what that means, but okay. Awesome.
JoJo, but I've never watched it.
Okay.
I think Voodoo Vince is a good shout. I think that would. Be
so
a cool one.
stand is from JoJo, and Blue Dragon is a swordsman with a dragon. I don't know.
JoJo was a man who thought he was a runner.
See, that's the one I know. Freemhole says, the gunstringer, pretty straightforward dude with a gun, but his recovery special would be someone yanking the marionette strings to give him a big upward saving move. Does that mean we would need the Kinect, or could it still be played with just a controller? That'd be great.
No Kinect for anything.
That'd be great if only the gunstringer needed a Kinect.
That
P-Tart,
sounds like a very Microsoft thing.
P-Tart says, any of the slimes from Slime Rancher, and gave it the same powers as Kirby. But the slimes don't do the stuff. Like, Slime Rancher's all about the gun, right?
Yeah, but if you're going to be the slimes and give it some sort of a moveset, the slimes are kind of like Kirby.
I guess
We can't have the slimes with the Kirby power and the Maul with the Kirby power as well. So, there's not enough variety.
That's
there.
a reskin.
Everything is Kirby.
Rocker Dude says Raz from Psychonauts, which is actually what was on my mind recently.
But what would the powers be?
What would the powers be? Well, he's got some cool stuff. Like he's got the big hand. Telekinesis hand. He's got the bouncy ball. Let's see, what would his recovery power be? His recovery power, I guess, would be his little floaty ball. That seems kind of lame. But yeah, I was since I've been playing Psychonauts 2 recently, I was just kind of thinking, oh geez, Raz is an obvious, I think. He just kind of fits that type of combat. I could see it.
That would be a good one.
Yeah, and my other answer is going to be brought up here soon, so I'm not going to mention that. But yeah, Raz from Psychonauts. That was my answer. What about you, Kenny?
All right. Well, first we're going to read off some patron responses. Ararturek first says, stick Ori in there. Can use its base attack to fire its little spirits out in various directions. Charge attacks can be with it using the Spirit Sword from Will of the Wisps. And recovery move is to use the glider feather for its smash attack. Have it unleash a charged attack similar to how you destroy large crystals in the first game. I expected that's where you were going to go, Nate. With
I was thinking that bash move would be awesome in a smash type situation. So like someone hits something at you and you bash off of it and to hit them or fling it back. That'd be really cool.
L chimed in and said, "One, I have no idea how to say that last name, and I don't know the game that he's from. One, aggregate.
I believe he's referring to Guacamole.
Yeah, aguacate, I believe is how you'd say that.
Okay, that's actually a good answer.
I mean, you've got all the luchador power wrestling moves.
Yeah,
and he could turn into a chicken as well. So I guess that's the thing."
I don't remember him turning into a chicken. I have not played a lot of
Rooster Power
game.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's no other answer, then it's just a wrestling game.
It's just, well, then wouldn't it just, if it's that, then you could just play Guacamole. If he's the only character.
I mean, it'd still work. He's just a fighter, so it'd be kind of a basic one.
He could also shift need to like the death dimension or whatever. I don't know how that would play into it, but you could have like two planes of existence and him flipping between them.
Mighty Mango says all the characters from the various Zidalon games. It would be amazingly terrible and wouldn't matter as it would only take 5 minutes to get all the achievements. No. I don't like that. I don't want all those crappy games running this possibly amazing Smash clone. Although there will be a crap ton of title updates. Mario chimes in and just says Clippy. Great answer. That almost seems like a must.
I mean, he's gonna be like a hidden character, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's like the secret one that you get after beating it.
No, he's the final boss.
Yeah.
He's the master hand.
Yeah, exactly.
Tying everything together.
He's like
Clippy as master hand. I love it.
Yeah.
And then Hawkeye says, the great mighty Pooh from Conker's Bad Fur Day.
We just said that was a dead horse. We're not talking about that anymore.
Yeah, well, the show we always talk about dead horses. So for my answer, and this is probably going to be a boring one that seems kind of obvious coming from me, I want the Dragonborn from Skyrim. Just the barbarian looking thing on that is everywhere. His smash attack could be like the Fush Roda and just sit there and just blow part of the screen off, or whoever gets caught in it off the screen for an insta kill. Simple, kind of just obvious answer. Has a giant war axe or something. Able to heal himself or have like a fireball as like a ranged attack. That would be my answer. Like I said, kind of boring and seems kind of obvious coming from me.
Speaking of boring and obvious answers, we had 2 submissions for the Master Chief himself. GT3 Option Fan says, Master Chief, of course. He could have some cool different melee attacks between Energy Sword, Gravity Hammer, and regular punches, but he'd have chances for some fun distance specials as well. Grapple Hook, Plasma Grenades, Needler, and then a few other guns if it made sense. His shield could be the armor lock ability, and his recover could be a jetpack ability. Having Master Chief is an obvious choice for a Smash clone from Microsoft. And Wild West 08 agreed and said his boring answer is Master Chief, and you could have lots of gadgets and weapons. Although if he was to have a different answer, you could have the guy from Sunset Overdrive, Imagining the different
that's a good one.
combos, bringing the different crazy guns they had, which could work well. Although there is no guy from Sunset Overdrive, is it? Because it's an entirely create your own character. I guess there's the guy on the cover, but
Yeah.
your version of that is never going to look the same. So that kind of leads me on to my own personal answer, which is that it's been mentioned a few times on this podcast in recent weeks. Remember when we used to have our avatars in games back in the 360? And they've kind of just completely ignored avatars. I say this generation, but even on the one, they did basically nothing with them. And I think it's high time for them to bring them back. And I think a Smash game would be perfect for that. I think allowing us to play as our avatars, and then, in the way that they used to unlock stuff, for your avatars, like costumes and things, you could unlock stuff in the game, including moves and abilities.
I like it.
Make it completely custom, make it completely unique to you. And for me, I mean, that's a personal thing, because I think that's the only way I'd be able to get Chewie in a Microsoft Smash game, because Chewie is, of course, my avatar. And yeah, you could have him tearing off arms, you could have him using his bowcaster, and you could have Han Solo in the background as a voiceover, just saying, "Just punch it, Chewie," for a special punch attack. And Freemhole actually chimed in on my response to that to say you could have your avatar calling in ultimates where a Forza car or a flight sim airplane does massive devastation to the battlefield, or you could have a Pokeball equivalent where a Porsche 911 zips through. And I don't know what that means.
Like you throw an item and then a Porsche comes out.
I see. I have to confess, It's confession time, just while I slip this in. I've never played Smash. And,
you're missing out.
And I've never played a Smash clone either. So
you're not so missing out.
I can only imagine what this all would look like. And it's probably quite far removed from the truth.
Well, if you haven't played Smash, then it would be kind of a little bit more difficult to understand the Pokeball equivalent answer from Frame. But yeah, you're missing out. Smash is a great game. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it comes from my lack of having any real Nintendo consoles as a child. So I completely missed that one.
Yeah, they're all right. I really liked Melee when I was a kid. And then I played the later ones, and yeah, man, they're fine. Just
the new one's really good. It has a huge roster on it now.
Yeah, my problem is that people try to treat it like it's an actual fighting game.
Yeah, I don't like that.
You take all the items out, which is kind of like taking all the fun out of the game.
That's what I say.
So it would be like Mario Kart without the power-ups and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, which just makes it just a racing game. But yeah, that's just me. They're a fun party game.
It's definitely a better party game. It's if you take out all the items and you just have the basic Final Destination level, it just turns into a very mediocre fighting game. And if you want to just play a fighting game, play Street Fighter or something, an actual good fighting game. Smash is better as a party game. The more chaos, the better. 8 players, small map, high items.
This guy gets it. All right, including other people that get it. Philip Wendell says Homer Simpson, a duff-filled burp. I don't think he's describing Homer Simpson as a duff-filled burp, but maybe perhaps describing his attacks. I'm not sure. He says there's just not enough Simpsons tie-ins.
That's definitely an option.
That's a choice. Freaky Rose says Steve from Minecraft. Diamond sword weapon's too obvious as a pickaxe. He could mine underneath you and drop lava. Distracts you don't see the creeper behind you. Personally, I don't think that Steve from Minecraft could ever work in a Smash game. I don't see them ever bringing him in to Smash. as a character. I don't even know. He's so far removed from it.
Like, his character just doesn't even fit. His model, the colors, nothing about it could possibly be in one.
It'd be like trying to put Banjo-Kazooie into it. And
or
it just
Sora.
wouldn't work. There's the Sora, or there's just two different. It'd be like putting like Ken or Ryu in there. Couldn't do it.
Just be weird.
Mm-hmm.
Master Chief is a much better fit.
Yep. Hurricane Dale says Doom Guy with glory kills and a BFG finisher. Nice. And
nice.
Mental Knight says, if I could play as anyone, I'd pick the Abs Cat, and the moveset would be embarrassingly sparse. But it'd be so good. It'd be for charity. You just watch it.
See, that would work as like one of the like the lane Pokemon when you throw them out and they just sit there. The Apes Cat just pops up.
So, I was thinking here, I was just kind of seeing what everyone else didn't pick, and some honorable mentions in my head. Nobody said Marcus Phoenix. You got Blinks the Time Cat.
Yes.
That could be fun. You got a lot of stuff from Rare that you could just pick. The guys from Jet Grind Radio, because Jet Grind Radio Future was one. But really, I think we're all missing out on the big picture. The biggest picture. And clearly the only answer that would make sense is Bill Gates, who could win through just sheer money and acquiring his opponents as he plays the game. So once his opponents get an advantage, he just buys them, and then it ends.
Well, if we're going to go that route, as much as I love it, we could also get The Rock. He can make a special appearance.
Well, I mean, I don't know if we want to smell what he's cooking, but we could. But I think you really got to go to the genesis of the whole thing, and
that's amazing.
There's no other way to go. Really,
I mean, you could slip Major Nelson in there and have him just embarrassing himself and being a dork.
Yeah. I mean, real people, I think, are the ticket here.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at that rate, then Phil Spencer needs to be the ultimate boss.
Nah, I mean, I think Bill Gates is the ultimate boss. I think he's the monster at the end of the book, really. You can't go... but he, in much the same way that you can play as M. Bison, you can play as Bill.
All right, you win. Good answer. All right, does anybody else got any answers that they could give? All right. Well, in that case, let's get into the game showcase. Chewie, since it's getting late for you, why don't you go first?
Okie dokie. Well, I am someone who gets involved in a lot of the silly contests that we run. And currently I am involved in the BCM, Better Completions Matter. And I am also on the side running my own little contest around adventure and point-and-click games called Adventure Time. And in a nice conjoining of worlds this month, I was given a game called The Last Door Complete Edition as my BCM bonus game. And The Last Door Complete Edition is a wonderful adventure point-and-click game. Kenny, one of your favorites.
Absolutely.
It is a kind of old-school pixel art, kind of very retro-styled horror adventure point-and-click game, kind of a horror mystery game with Lovecraftian overtones. You play as... It's split into 2 seasons. When it was originally released, it was an entirely kickstarted game, and each episode was released, as it was kickstarted. And at the end of every episode, it actually lists a bunch of backers who supported it, and even the backers were allowed to provide descriptions of items within the game as part of their backing. Yeah, it is a nice kind of touch, but it's basically 4 episodes and then 2 seasons, so 4 episodes per season, making up 8 episodes. Each one is kind of about an hour long, probably, and each season has you playing as a different character. going on a journey through a mystery involving basically another world or another dimension that a group of people at school together discovered a way of creating basically a way to go into this other world or this other dimension, this Lovecraftian world of fog and mystery and monsters and terror. I'm not sure why you would ever want to go there. To be honest, it's not particularly a holiday destination. I suppose they just figured out if they could, they would. The first season has a character who was involved in this group but has amnesia and can't remember anything about it. So it's kind of discovering his involvement and the involvement of his classmates who have been dying one by one over the years, ending with him being confronted with whether or not he will go into this other world. And then the second season is that character's psychiatrist who has discovered that his patient has gone missing and is then following in his footsteps and going on his own journey. And then the climax of both of those seasons is those two stories combining and kind of culminating. It's a really, really dense, really, really well-written little adventure game. And it's kind of spooky and creepy and it has a few jumpy moments. And although the pixel art is very basic, it's also kind of beautiful in its own way. It's quite painterly and it's really well done. I just really enjoyed it from top to bottom. It's kind of my kind of thing, though.
I've played the second season actually because it was on PC Game Pass.
Yeah, they released.
I think
it's weird because they released the second season directly without the first season on PC. I think the first season is available on mobile on Windows Phone. Weirdly enough, so yeah, I don't know. The second season, obviously, you kind of be a bit lost without having played the first one. But
I was,
yeah.
yeah.
But then, yeah, they released both as this complete edition on console. So I do, if you like the second season, I do recommend going back and doing the whole thing, including the first season, to kind of fill in the blanks there.
Yeah, I remember I had to like kind of cobble together a lot of, and I never did finish that second season. I got stuck on a piano puzzle.
Yes, and there's, it's kind of standard point and click tropes. There's inventory management puzzles and picking up items, figuring out how you're going to use them in different things, and then there's like standard puzzles as well mixed in. It is quite complex in places, and it's quite hard, and there is quite a lot of stuff that you can potentially miss as well. They have secrets that you have to discover for achievements. So I would actually recommend a walkthrough to avoid multiple playthroughs, because you wouldn't really get much out of multiple playthroughs other than going for the completion. And there isn't a walkthrough on TA, but there is on PlayStation Trophies, as a lot of point-and-click games are. I recommend going there, although this one isn't actually written by The Mind is a City, who is kind of the go-to guy for...
The GOAT.
Yeah, he's great for like the Artifacts Mondays and stuff. This is written by someone else but it's over on that site, so that will get you through the completion, get all the secrets and everything. But if point and click adventure games are your bag, and you like stuff that's a bit kind of creepy, spooky, and quite retro, then this is definitely a recommend from me.
And it's a collection.
Is it classed as a collection?
Yes, it is.
It should be. It's in the title.
I guess it's one. I don't know though. It is one game, 2 seasons of one game.
Well, I think because the second season is its own game on Windows, they consider it as 2 separate games.
I suppose. Splitting hairs. Yeah. I guess so. I'll accept it.
It just barely fits the definition.
Doesn't matter. It's on my wish list now. Collections, baby.
Yeah. It's cool. It's good. I liked it. I will also sneak in. I know we're only supposed to talk about one game, but I'm going to sneak in a quick reference to another, also point and click adventure, also pixel art.
Go for it.
Also kind of a mystery game called Detective Dye: The Silk Rose Murders. This one is set in feudal Japan, and you play as a kind of an officer of the law who is hired by the Empress of Japan, feudal Japan, to investigate a series of murders. And it's kind of like Sherlock Holmes or Poirot, but set in feudal Japan. And there's a huge amount of historical detail. And it's a real person, this detective Dye, and the people around the Empress and everything like that are all historically, true to those people at the time, and all of what was going on at the time. China trying to put itself on the world stage, but also, a lot of power plays. The Empress came to power by maybe or maybe not murdering her husband, and maybe or maybe not murdering her son in order to get to power. And all of that is happening around these kind of gruesome murders of women that you have to solve. And again, really, really well written, really nicely presented. Just a really nice little game if you're into that kind of retro point-and-click adventure style. So 2 games, similar, big recommends from me.
Well, the Detective Dye, I like the sound of that story, but then when I look at it, point and click and retro graphics, it's like,
It's got both kinds of gameplay, pointing and clicking.
Yeah, and that one is shorter and easier, and it kind of handholds you quite a lot more through the story and the puzzles. So there's not much to worry about, and almost the entire achievement list is story based. There's one single achievement towards the end of the game that you could miss if you didn't say the right thing, but that's quite well signposted, so it's not really a bother. But yeah,
I was just about that. I was just about to ask about the last door. Does it have like chapter select? I see in the achievement list there's a couple of like collectibles and stuff like that.
Yeah, you could go back to each individual chapter and pick up anything you missed in terms of
Nice.
secrets or missables or anything like that. Yeah, the whole game is completely kind of replayable in any order you want to get everything you need.
Oh, that's good then.
Mhm. And that is it. Yeah, so two
All
games that I personally recommend. Not for everybody, I know, but they tick all my boxes. They tickle my fancies.
Whoa.
The last door looks like something, Nate, you might have some interest in.
I played the one on PC, and then it took me a while to realize that Chewie was talking about the fact that it's on Xbox now with Season 1 and Season 2, because I'm slow. And I was just like,
edition.
I don't want to do it again. And luckily I don't have to, because it's not on Game Pass. So
Yet.
But it's a collection.
yeah, but that's not me, that's you.
Yeah.
That's your thing.
Yeah. It's on Game Pass, then it becomes my thing, and I have to do it. Eventually.
Probably when it's leaving, though. All right. Well, in that case, reverse order. Let's go with Koosh next.
All right. I have been dabbling. There's just so much good out right now. So I find it really hard to talk about anything because I haven't spent a whole lot of time in any one game, just because I'm trying not to forget the controls in like Psychonauts and Wolong and Chorus and Lost in Random. All these games, I'm trying not to forget what's going on, and it's really hard to split my time. So what I'm talking about is Wolong Fallen Dynasty. This came to Game Pass a couple weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I think. Yeah, March 3rd. So
Yeah.
little over 2 weeks. And this is my first foray into a Souls-like. Now, some people would say it's not a Souls-like, and for anyone who does play Souls games, this is your chance to just laugh at me as I get everything wrong, because that is what's going to happen, I'm sure. Once again, I don't play Souls games, so this is going to probably sound ridiculous to anyone who does play a lot of those. You're going to die a lot in this game. There is no difficulty setting, as far as I'm aware. You just kind of go in and you just go at it. It has a very robust character selection. You can choose a whole bunch of different models. You can choose a whole bunch of different, changes to them and skin tones and scars and accessories. And you can make characters very distinct from one another. I went with female model number 2. That's it. That's as far as my customization typically goes with a game. I look at the base options and I just go, okay, that's good enough. And that's how I went with this game. It's set in like a kind of a Dynasty Warriors type era. And I think that there is a Dynasty Warriors tie-in. I'm not sure. I saw some people talking about that. The developer is Team Ninja. So the combat feels a little bit like Ninja Gaiden Black. A little bit. But it is very much not a hack and slash. It's more of a thinking combat and a reactionary combat. You have 2 primary weapons that you can swap through. And you can choose them at any time when you're not fighting. It's very easy to swap between the 2. When you are fighting, there's this really cool move where you can change your weapon as you attack. So that's really cool. There's also 2 slots for ranged weapons, which so far I've seen them as a bow and a crossbow, and maybe get some more options later. But the primary weapons, like swords, there's a whole bunch of variety there. So I do a light and a heavy. I have a sword for my light quick attacks, and I have kind of like a pole arm for my heavy attacks. For, boss fights where I'm not going to get a whole lot of attacks in between their attacks. So I just want to make them count and make them hit as hard as I can. So for boss fights, I'll be using those heavy attacks. There is a blocking system, so you can block, but it's not the best. Instead, you want to do this parry move. So when enemies attack with regular attacks, you'll want to parry it. And when you do that, it stuns them, leaves them vulnerable for a counterattack. There is also kind of I think they call it a spirit system. There's a lot of systems in this game, so I'm going to get them all wrong. But when someone attacks, their ability to recover and their ability to spend energy to attack you goes down when you deflect or when you do a spirit attack on them successfully. So in these longer fights, by deflecting and attacking and then using your spirit on them successfully, you get them to a stun state where you can do more damage. And when that happens, there's a little red reticle on them when you're close enough. When you're in range, you can actually strike, and then you hit the Y button and you do massive damage to them. You can also do massive damage when you're undetected. So from above, you can jump above them and then get that red reticle and then hit the Y button. Or if you're able to sneak up behind them and not be observed, you can also get like a huge hit on them. Takes down like a third to a half their life, which I think is a kind of a Dark Souls thing. I think that happens a lot in those games. But there are save points throughout each of these levels. There's no map that I can tell. But there are 2 different types of flag points. There's like a battle flag, which serves as your save point. And anytime you go to use that flag, you'll get all your health flasks back. So you start off with 3, and you can, I think, build out to 10 by getting these pickups and increasing your number of flasks. But when you go and use that battle flag, it'll refill all your flasks, but it will repopulate the world. Anybody you've killed is now back. There's another flag that is it's not that, it's something else, but it increases your your stamina and how much damage you can take. And you want to get those. You want to collect all those because they're going to make you stronger permanently. It seems. So what I've been doing is just chipping away at this game. I died so many times to the first weak character, just as I was trying to learn how to dodge and how to deflect and all that. And eventually got to this mid-area boss, which was a tiger demon. It was like part tiger, part man, and all kick-ass. It was just tearing me to pieces, 3 attacks and I'm done. And I'm running back. So I eventually said, okay, that's not cool. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to start grinding. So I just went from battle flag to battle flag, just killing everything on the way, going to the next one, repopulating, run back. and getting all these upgrade orbs that allowed me to just constantly upgrade my HP. And then I discovered, oh, well, HP is great because it gives you, hit points, but you actually want to upgrade this other spirit, which is like your earth essence, which will allow you to carry more weight, which will allow you to put on better armor, which is actually better for you for mitigating damage. So I'm learning all about this game just by dying repeatedly and slowly upgrading the right things, I think, in order to make it better. And I'm having a great time. As a non-Souls playing person, I'm really enjoying the combat. I'm enjoying learning how to defeat these bosses and how to just kind of work my way through the levels. And I haven't gone back and replayed any levels. I know that is a part of what they want you to do because you can pick up more materials to upgrade more weapons, upgrade your armor. But so far it's pretty good. People have said that the English dialogue is not great and that instead you want to switch it to Japanese and use subtitles, but I'm fine. I'm fine with the English. I'd rather be able to hear it and read it. Like if I get distracted and have to go look at another screen or something, I can still hear what's going on. And really the story is not really what's doing it for me. It's the combat. It's the challenge of the battles. But yeah, that's Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. It's got 51 achievements. It seems like a lot of them are progression based or just using, different characters that you meet. They'll sort of serve as your backups. They'll kind of go into battles with you. And you can, in certain instances, you can command them to go do attacks. Sometimes they draw other fighters away from you, their attention, so you can sneak up behind them and get in a couple hits from there. And then once they're down, then it's just you and good luck. Yeah.
So I'm with you. I don't particularly like Dark Souls games, but that's also because I don't need that stress in my life. I got enough of it. Is it more like a Souls game, or is it more like an action RPG? Like for people who don't really like Souls games, is it something that's like, oh yeah, you might die, but there's enough here that you'll latch onto it?
Well, I had, like I said, I haven't really played very many Souls games, so I can't tell you what that, how close this matches Dark Souls 1 or Dark Souls 2 or any of that. I can tell you it's got those RPG strappings, so or trappings, sorry, where you're managing your armor, you're trying to figure out what's best. I actually got very confused at one point because I was able to put on more armor than I should have, and my armor percentage went over 100%. And when that happens, you can no longer deflect. Now, I didn't know that, so I went in there and I was just like, man, I'm really sucking after this big boss fight. And now everything else I'm fighting, I can't deflect. My timing is off. It's just off. And then I noticed that my weight percentage was over 100%. And I was like, oh, that's weird. So I swapped something out and I was down to 93. And all of a sudden I was able to deflect again. So it wasn't my timing. It was the fact that you have to manage your armor versus your weight capacity. Yeah, and you have to choose what your upgrades are going to be. Well, do I want more healing or do I want more health? Do I want the ability to wear more armor? Do I want to do more fire damage? Do I want to take more spirit away from them when I deflect? You have 5 different abilities that you can build out, and each one of those is a level, and you have to get increasingly more souls or upgrade, whatever you want to call them, in order to get to that next level. And there's an achievement for getting to level 80. So you're really going to be building out these levels. You're really going to be investing into them. There's also a spell system, which I didn't really go into, and those require, as you go farther into the tree, you need to go farther into your 5 areas. You have to spec into them more, put your upgrades into them in order to get to those better spells or those farther along spells. But yeah, so, if you're just into RPGs, this might be something you're interested in. If you're just into hack and slash, maybe be into it. Although, like I said, there's a lot of, you have to deflect, you have to learn the patterns of the big bosses, especially. So I don't know if that is what you do in the Souls games.
Yeah, everything you've just described. Sorry, I haven't said. A lot of this is very similar to like a Dark Souls or a Sekiro
Gotcha. And
style.
I had asked in the Discord, I was like, well, how, on a scale of 1 to 10, how close is this to like Dark Souls? And I got, from the 2 people that answered, like about a 7.5 to an 8.
Yeah, it's just the descriptions that you gave me, like, for the little bit that, like, because I've beaten Dark Souls 3. Like, I did the DLC for that, and just, like, being over encumbered, you can do it, but, like, losing the ability to do certain things, like, the game won't stop you, but it'll just make you less ideal. Like, having the bonfires where you regenerate, the progression based on, like, all of that sounds very, very, very Dark Souls.
But this isn't like the Dark Souls we have at home, right? Or what was the one? Lords of the Fallen. There's a few others that are kind of low tier Souls. This is actually quality. Like this is a
it looks it.
a contender for a competitor for the Souls kind of.
I guess. I'm having a great time with it. It doesn't feel like I got it from the dollar store. It looks great. It plays well.
It does look cool.
It's got a ton of systems I don't understand. So somebody spent some time on it. So
yeah,
seems quality.
You might want to give a Dark Souls game a try after this if you're really digging it. Just see.
I think I'm going to do Sekiro next because I bought it. I always thought I would go play that one. Good reason. And I just never, it wasn't in Game Pass, and I didn't have the desire to go do it, but I thought it would look cool, so I picked it up only when it was cheap.
I tapped on that one. That game kicked my teeth in.
No, maybe I'll check that out at some point.
Go for it. Yeah, it's really. I had a very hard time with it. Yep, I'm not an MLG Super Pro God Gamer. I'm sorry to disappoint all of my ravenous fans, but I couldn't beat Sekiro, but other people really enjoy it. I just recognize that I'm bad.
Yeah, I agree. I just I don't get the beat your head against the wall until you figure out the boss's patterns and then do it.
Well, so far with this game, it seems like you can just grind up your levels and then go for it. Now maybe there's a wall you hit with grinding, you can't go any farther, and then it becomes skill, like pure skill. But so far, I've been able to overcome my lack of skill with just grinding high levels. Like it said, hey, you should probably do this, think about being level 5 when you go into this area. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm doing it at 20. I just blaze through it until I get to the bosses. And that's been working for me so far. I'm a little closer now. I'm like maybe 5 levels above where they want me to be. But, it's fun. I'm having fun.
Being overpowered definitely helps. All right. Well, yeah. Wo Long at least looked cool. After hearing you talk about it, I don't know if I want to try it now.
Then mission accomplished. That's why I do these things. To get people back to play games.
He's here for a woe good time, not a woe long time.
Okay.
Whoa.
Well, with that, Devin, what would you like to talk about?
Yeah, there's all kinds of new great things that are being released and a lot of new hotness. So I forewent all of that and decided to play Far Cry 2.
Oh, classic. Classic?
Oh, well, no, it's not. Far Cry Classic's a different one. That's the first one. Far Cry 2 is a game that I've had on my tag for almost ever, since 2009, and I have RTDL and specifically Chewie to blame for playing it. It's very rough. I kind of hate it. I can't
review.
I can't in good conscience recommend anyone play it for a variety of reasons, which I will get into now. Far Cry 2 is the fairly archetypical open world game from Ubisoft. If you've played one, you're going to be fairly well familiar with it, wherein you go and different people give you different quests. You are in, as the game's Wikipedia is described to me, in the UAC, or unnamed African country, and you are a mercenary hunting down an arms dealer that's supplying two sides of a conflict named the Jackal. And there's a lot of things about this where it's like, yeah, there's some cool ideas.
Hmm.
So the main theme is that war is bad.
That don't sound
And
right.
this is, yeah, I know. It's a weird random concept. But the idea that, like, maybe all of this war profiteering and all this mercenary work, what if that's not good for people? And to that end, there's a lot of things that it goes into. So all of the bad guys that you're fighting, of which it's literally everyone that you ever encounter. There's no friendly people in Africa whatsoever, apparently. All of them have guns that are seconds away from blowing up in your face, so they all jam, they get dirty. There's no way to repair the guns. You can buy new guns, and your guns degrade crazy fast. So you have to go pick up the new guns. So once you buy a gun, it's good forever. Like it stays there, but it'll degrade, so you have to go back and do that repeatedly. Otherwise, your gun jams in the middle of the fight. I had a pistol explode in my hand because it was so badly degraded. You also immediately upon landing in Africa, you talk to. There's a guy that takes you to the hotel. It's very Skyrim, like, oh, hey, just woke up. Welcome to the country. And then you drive around. You immediately get malaria. It's the first thing you do upon landing into the country. I think it's kind of like in Hawaii when they give you the lays. You get malaria. And because you have malaria, sometimes at just random points, you'll just get really tired and stop running and jumping, and your vision will get all weird. Because you have malaria. And you can do missions to get pills to stop malaria, but you can never cure the malaria. You just have it forever.
That's like a story beat?
That is, yeah.
It's
well,
a
because
mechanic.
because war is bad and life is hard. Also, in other games, when like there's different points in the map, there's road checkpoints, right? You've played an Ubisoft game, I'm sure. And you go to those road checkpoints and you kill everybody there. And it's like, yep, that's a road checkpoint. And then you leave the road checkpoint and you turn back around. Maybe you forgot something. I don't know. Well, then you'll notice that everyone has immediately respawned and will continue to immediately respawn forever. There's no way to clear out all of these road checkpoints. And you might think that there's like one or two. Oh no, there's one at every single place. And you might be like me, and you might think, well, I'll just blow past this road checkpoint then. I won't have to kill everybody. They will hunt you to the ends of the earth for passing through their road checkpoint. It's beloved and sacred. So, which causes you to shoot your guns, which causes your gun to degrade, so you have to go back to the place where you bought the guns because you need new guns so that they don't explode in your hands, but they keep running into road checkpoints and you're just trying to get to places and then you have malaria. This game is a exercise in tedium.
But it's okay because you can bring in your companions to help you.
Oh yeah, you have buddies. They suck. They're all what's in it for me mercenaries.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes if you get knocked down, the one guy will come in and save you. And that's it. You also, because it's real, your buddy will get knocked down and you can just decide to put him out of his misery, which is an achievement. I just hacked at him with a machete and then shot him, so I got the achievement and then reloaded my save. I don't know why you would ever... Yeah. So, yeah, moving through the maps is tedious. The story missions are tedious because it's not a very big map, but because you're constantly getting into stupid firefights, like all the time, your guns keep degrading, which keep causing more and more problems to happen, which I think is supposed to be like this is gritty and realistic. But when you have things like constantly respawning checkpoints, it takes me out of this immersion that they're trying to build. And it makes me really hate it. I'm about halfway through, I think, because I think I'm about to go to map number 2. And the achievements are a nightmare. But it involves like literally beating every side mission in the game, finding all of the hidden diamond caches, because you don't just get paid money. The money's worthless. You get paid in uncut diamonds. And they, in true realistic fashion, I was so immersed. drug and diamond cartels just throw all of their valuable diamonds in briefcases just all over the place for random people to find. It's
That's
immersive.
realistic. How else do you store your diamonds?
Exactly. So you have to do that. You have to find all those diamonds. It's tedious. I hate it. And on top of all of that, you would have to play the multiplayer for an obscene amount of time to get to the max rank. And when I tried to do that, my rank just kept resetting if I shut the Xbox off. And all of my stats would reset.
What?
So I could never actually complete this game. And I don't know if I ever want to. I think I will beat the story and then remove it from my entire life. Just go take the disc and practice skeet shooting or whatever, or donate to a malaria charity. Yeah. And this isn't to say that all Far Cry is bad. Far Cry 3 is rad. Everyone should play Far Cry 3.
They refined the formula. You could see the template for what they were trying to do in Far Cry 2, and then they really tightened it up. A lot of the things in Far Cry 2 are in Far Cry 3. That the different factions and then the flipping sides between, who's on the right side and who's on the wrong side. Oh, guess what? They're all as bad as each other. The various different strongholds that you have to take over. Obviously the collectibles and things like that. The open world, the revealing of the map, all of that is in Far Cry 2 and 3. It's just Far Cry 3 makes it fun, and Far Cry 2 is not fun. I played this back in 2011, and I think at the time I really enjoyed it, but that was before everything else that's come after. So I could imagine going back after having experienced 3 onwards would be like, oh my god, this is not fun.
I didn't like it when I played it initially, because you get an achievement immediately, and then I was just trying to figure out the game, and it was like, oh, you have malaria. I was like, I don't like this, and I stopped playing it until contest dredged it up.
Have you noticed, if you're paying attention to the story at all, have you noticed that everyone talks very quickly and there's no pauses in anything anyone says, and it's really, really quick like this? There's no breaks.
Yes. I've also noticed the one cool thing I will say, fire. The fire in the game, because it's in Africa and there's a drought. So doing certain actions will cause a fire to spring up in the brush and make firefights a little bit more exciting, because you can accidentally cause a wildfire behind you and just be like, oh, I'm on fire.
Yeah.
This is bad.
Starting a wildfire is the best part of the game.
Yeah, but yes, I did notice that. I have not been paying too much attention to the story because it's not like I'm trying to hunt down the jackal, but he never shows up or does anything in the Far Cry manner. Because if you play 3 or 4, the bad guy shows up and monologues at you and is a bigger force in your life, as opposed to the jackal, who doesn't care that you exist and is just he shows up at the beginning and just well, you have no reason to be here anymore.
Yeah.
Bye.
I will set you up to prepare for disappointment in that regard.
Yeah, because I want to like it too. Because like I said, I've played 3 and 5. I really like 3. I really like 5. Blood Dragon's also good. There's no reason to go back and play this game.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing it on PC. I think there are people who have modded out some of the stuff to keep some of the elements, but make it less obnoxious. It wouldn't bother me that road checkpoints constantly respawn if it was after a day. But I'm not kidding when I say it's literally right after you turn the corner, they've restocked that road checkpoint full of dudes. And I've gone back because it's a mission made me go okay, go down this road. Okay, you've picked up that thing, now go back. And it's the road checkpoint came back. How?
And the minute any single one of them knows where you are, the entire camp knows exactly where you are as well. And you could be hiding in the long grass, and you could step on a twig, and one person might be like, hey, what was that? And then within 5 seconds, 50 dudes are literally just on top of you, and you're like, ah!
And I wasn't kidding. Like, in other open world games, like even in the Far Cry games, there are people that don't want to kill you, but literally everyone you meet outside of cities want you dead. Like, and it's for us to be able to be driving around, and it'll be just like another car will go by, and it's full of bad guys, and they immediately like, oh hey, it's him, and they pull over and they try to kill me, and I'm like, if you're trying to be immersive and gritty, these like weird, wacky segments take me out of this. Like, I like the idea of what it's trying to tell with the world being oppressive and terrible and all that, but like the way they're going about it just makes it much more tedious, and really takes me away from it. And it makes me, like I said, it makes me mock it and just be like, oh, war's really bad. Did you know that? Like, there's other games that do that and really hit the point home better. So yeah, if you've never played Far Cry 2, don't. Just play Far Cry 3. The classic edition is Far Cry 3 Classic. Is totally completable. Far Cry 5, I think it's on Game Pass. They give you the DLC now as a perk, like one of them. Just play that. It's like Far Cry 5 is an amazing little game. It might be very formulaic, but they've refined that formula down to a science. If you want to watch some of the failed attempts, though, by all means, you can go to Far Cry 2 and bash your head up against a wall.
And considering this came out in 2008, I'm assuming it plays like a 2008 shooter, so it's not that good.
Okay, but like 2008 had all kinds of banger shooters, like COD 4, Halo 3. All of those are perfectly fine playable games.
Oh,
they feel
I realize
a lot
that.
more fresh. But this feels like a very ho-hum 2008 shooter.
Oh, trust me, I know that when you mention the game shooter from 2008, it's either like the absolute best, absolute classic top tier games, or it's don't go back to the shooting.
Yeah, I mean, the game handles and controls perfectly fine. It's just because you're getting like the weapons jammed or all that. You can't vary your weapons up because you have to spend the diamonds to buy new weapons, and so mostly I just stuck with what I had, and didn't vary it up because all the enemy weapons are terrible, which is a statement because war is bad.
The achievement list looks awful as well.
Yeah, the single player achievements are. I think I'm just gonna bum rush down the getting to the end of the game and just beating the story and call it there. But this game made me so mad, and I don't think I've played it for week, maybe a little over 2 weeks, maybe. But I was still just like, no, I gotta let this. The story must be told. I must warn people.
Well, what a glowing recommendation.
No, it's not. Don't. This isn't even like one of those like, oh, this is really interesting. No, don't. Like I distilled down to you. Like, don't.
All right. All right. Well, with that, let's get on to some sales and things that you should actually play and actually buy instead of Far Cry 2. I've got 2 recommendations for this week. The first being the Prototype Biohazard Bundle. It's $15 down from $50. I'm sure everyone knows what Prototype is. It's an amazing open world hack and slash game. Superpower type game where you just murder a lot of people. There's a lot of murdering, a lot of destruction. It is an amazing game if you have not played it. And if you have not played it, you are truly doing yourself a disservice. It's so much fun. Just something to point out, the first game is actually kind of difficult to complete because you have to do all these like challenges and you have to get gold in all the challenges, and they're not easy. The second one, however, is super easy to complete. You don't have to do none of that stuff. Yes, I mean, completion is beware, I guess, for that. And then second game I'm going to recommend is a game called Crashbots. Now, this is an older, sometimes you game. It's $3 down from 10. It's like a platformer. If you want to get a better idea of this game, you can actually go to our YouTube channel. I streamed this game like forever ago, and it's kind of one of those games where you're a crash test dummy, from what I can remember, and you just have to get to the end point, and it's kind of difficult. I just remember struggling on this game, and everybody watching and loving me being miserable while trying to fight through it. But yeah, it was a fun little game that I feel like a decent amount of people listening would actually enjoy this type of a thing. So yeah, you can check that out. Nate, what games would you like to recommend?
All right. I've mentioned it before, but it's time again. Portal of Evil Stolen Runes, $3.59 down from $7. This is 8th Floor doing their best Artifacts Monday impersonation. And from the only person I know that's played it, Mental Knight 5 says that it's pretty good. It's plays like an Artifacts Monday, so that's cool. And if you're not sure what that is, that's an adventure point and click. Next up, What Lies in the Multiverse, $4.50 down from $15. This is a puzzle platformer. It was mentioned or brought up in the showcase by Rocker Dude back on level 188. And I suspect that this is cashing in on the Everything Everywhere All at Once hype train, because it's about the multiverse. So it seems like a good time to try to sell that game again. There are a bajillion shmups going on sale this week. If you're into those, they're not great discounts, but they are on sale. If you are into playing those games, maybe you want to check them out, pick up what you don't have. And finally, Quantum Break is $10 down from $40. This is a third-person shooter. I'm sure you've heard of it. I hope. It's a little long in the tooth now, I think, but still looks great. Still plays great. And it could potentially be in the Game of the Month contender. Vulgar will talk about that at some point. It might be. I saw it mentioned.
Maybe.
Also, just worth calling out that it features the now deceased Lance Reddick as one of its actors. So I wondered if there was a tie-in there, because he unfortunately died this week. So maybe
I wasn't going to bring everybody down, Chewie.
Draw attention. By putting the game on sale. Get some sales. Okay.
Oh, right. Them. Yes, maybe. That's it. Quantum Break. It's a great game. I've played a little bit of it. Need to play it again. TM.
Is that not on Game Pass?
It is.
Is it on Game Pass? I checked. I didn't see it. I didn't see that it was.
I'm pretty sure it is. I don't think I own it.
I thought it was.
Yep, Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, Game Pass.
Yep, and
I'll
it's
buy it.
Yeah, buy it anyway. Still pretty good. Remedy made it. They did Control, Alan Wake, and the only other thing I'll say about Quantum Break is that it is a big boy. It's like 100 gigs. It's huge.
That's because it's a TV series as well as a game.
Yeah, it's got like a whole bunch of HD video.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, really neat. My recommendation is XCOM: Enemy Within, which is $7.99 down from $39.99. $7.99, of course, being so much lower than $8. XCOM is a turn-based strategy game where you're a squad of people and you're trying to fight off aliens. This is the backwards compatible version of Enemy Unknown that has the DLC in it. So Enemy Unknown was the kind of remake or the redo, and Enemy Within was the expansion. They released as two separate lists on the 360. So this is the more complete version. Has the DLC, including dudes that you can make into mechs, and you can do genetic modification. And it also has a secret human sympathizers with the alien enemy that adds a little bit more to the gameplay. Highly recommend XCOM anytime it comes up, and would recommend you play it.
I feel like it's always on sale when you're on this show.
XCOM 1 or 2 is, yeah.
So,
all right. Go ahead, Joey.
So for me, whenever the sales pop up, I always filter them to adventure and point-and-click games because that's my jam. And as I say, I'm
sorry.
a little contest. I'm doing a personal push on them this year. So this week, I just wanted to draw attention to a couple that I think were worth mentioning. I was going to say Portal of Evil, which Koosh already mentioned, but also there is Agatha Christie, Hercule Poirot, The First Cases. Similar to the games I mentioned earlier, the Game Showcase, these are kind of murder mystery, point-and-click adventures, and I really like kind of Sherlock and Poirot and these detective mystery games. This is down from probably a very overpriced $30 down to $12, 60% off, which is the lowest it's been, so I think worth picking up. Another one which is very, very, very cheap. Not sure exactly why, but worth pointing out because it's so cheap, is a game called Paper Ghost Stories 7 p.m. It's a short adventure game, but it is down from $4 to less than $1. Less than a doll hair for Paper Ghost Stories. So I don't know if it's worth it. It's got a 2.29
I'd buy
rating,
that for $1.
but it is cheap as chips. I also wanted to point out that there is a heck of a lot of Call of Duty games on sale. Call of Duty games, I think, regularly do pop up in the sales, but there are basically all of them this week. And if you are taking part in Vulgar's Call of Duty contest for the year, this is a good opportunity to grab basically all of them. I mean, on the 360, you've got 2, 3, Modern Warfare 2, and Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 2, World at War, and on the One, you've got all those other ones as well. And I think there's even a DLC on sale as well, which is quite rare. You see the games on sale a lot, but the DLC rarely does. I think Black Ops 2 Season Pass is on sale as well, and Modern Warfare 2, a couple of DLC packs on there as well.
Cool.
Not my thing, but if you like Call of Duty, there's a whole lot.
Answer the call.
Oh, I just hope that acquisition goes through, because then we don't have to buy them. It'd be so nice. All right. But if you also don't want to buy anything, just as a reminder, Games with Gold, you have Chuba Brook until the end of the month. This is up Chewie's alley. It's a point-and-click game.
Yes. I don't love it as much as Rorka does. I don't know why he loves it so much. There are better point-and-click games. It's okay. It's fine.
It's also really expensive. It's like $30.
Yes, worth getting for free, not for $30.
Yeah.
I think that's why he likes it. We also have Sudden Strike 4, which is a real-time strategy game, also available until the end of the month, and available until tax day, or what used to be tax day, April 15th, never mind, is Lamentum. It's a survival horror game. Also possibly up Chewie's alley. I know you like the horror stuff.
Yeah, it looks pretty interesting. It's kind of, again, I guess kind of Lovecraftian, I guess you want to say. Nightmare world full of terrible creatures. It looks kind of retro-y. I don't know what makes it a survival horror game, particularly, apart from the horror element. But, I mean, I'll definitely be checking it out because it looks like my kind of thing.
Say from the horror and then the graphics, it looks like something you would enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. But on Game Pass, there's not a lot of it. But available now is Ni no Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom, the Prince's Edition. Available next Tuesday is MLB The Show 23.
Heck yeah. I'm very excited. It's my favorite
I
time
know
of the
you
year.
are.
Yeah, I love playing these games.
I was going to mention, I know that's something up your alley. I know you like all the MLB games.
I've completed the other two, so I'm going to work to try to complete 23.
Nice. And in 2 weeks, we have Infinite Guitars coming to Game Pass.
I'm sure it's probably finite.
And that's it for the Game Pass news, or at least what's arriving. We do have quite a bit of games leaving Game Pass. We have Double Dragon Neon, which is a 20 to 25 hour beat 'em up. We have Cluster Truck, which I feel like has been there since the service started.
It was the first It Came From Game Pass game.
Mm.
You can actually check out
that's
Michelle and
right.
I's. Like sometime around the hundreds or so.
That's right. I think, was it you or maybe you and Michelle streamed it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Thought
but that
so.
was on Mixer.
Wow.
So
Old school.
yeah,
What a time.
That's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
what a time
Right.
to be alive. Yeah.
That stream might actually be on YouTube. I should have looked that up. It might be on our channel. Hope so. I hope it is. We have MLB The Show 22 is leaving, as you can imagine. We have Power Rangers Battle for the Grid, which is a fighting game. 200 plus hour completion. So there's time in the month to complete it, I'm sure. But in all honesty, if you like fighting games, this is actually a really good fighting game. I really enjoy this one. We have Kraken Academy, which is a 6 to 8 hour adventure game. Memoir Blue, a 1 to 2 hour adventure game. And game Nate just talked about last week, Chinatown Detective Agency, which is an adventure point and click, 10 to 12 hours.
You called it, Nate. You called it.
Well, staying on the shoulder of giants, Freemhole predicted it.
These ones are killing me because normally, I don't go for all of the Game Pass leavers, but 3 adventure games leaving at once is like, come on.
Kraken Academy does have a very good walkthrough, by the way. Just I've done that one. It's a very doable game. I did it, I think, pretty well under estimate, too.
Interesting.
If there's time, I'd like to go back and do that. I kind of backed myself into a corner with Chinatown Detective Agency, which I'm not enjoying as much as I thought I would with that first bit. I kind of soured on it after I talked about it. but yeah, I'm looking forward to getting to Kraken Academy if I can. But that Diablo 4 open beta's this week, so I don't know.
I gotta get to Memoir Blue.
Yeah, that was not as good as I'd hoped.
I was just sitting there thinking, I knew someone in Discord was talking about how Memoir Blue wasn't very good. I couldn't remember who it was.
It's very abstract.
All right. And just as a reminder, game of the month for March is Psychonauts 2.
Oh, and also I am taking submissions for nominations. I'll kind of vet through them and see if there's any good ideas. And if you are a patron, sometime this Friday, I will be putting it up to a vote for April's Game of the Month. So if you want to vote on that, you can. I'll accept submissions from anybody for different games, but you can't vote on it unless you're a patron.
All right. Yeah, patrons, be sure to look out for that. I'm sure we'll tag you when the voting starts and whatnot.
Oh yeah, that's sometime Friday. Just ish. Got to figure out what we're looking for.
Yeah. Something more story based and something shorter, hopefully.
Yeah, generally if you're looking for like what a good suggestion would be, if it's in Game Pass or Games with Gold or is frequently very cheap, that'll probably work. Something that isn't crazy long, has a pretty good story, is all very good things to suggest.
Just trying to make it something that's more readily available for everyone.
Readily available, completable too, at least the story completable, and you have something to talk about in it,
Yep. All right. Well, with that, let's get into Brag Camp. Start with Devin.
All right, in completions, Ems Fergie has reached 250 completed games. Drunken Monkeys has reached 800 completed games, and Inigo Montoya has reached 1,600 completed games.
In streaks, Freem Hole and Infamous are currently on 50-day win streaks. RPG Davey and Lego Head 1977 and KooshMoose are on 150-day achievement win streaks. Inferno 118 and Desert Fox 420 are on 200-day achievement win streaks. CJH Carter with 250 days. Ems Fergie with 500 days. Wild West 08 with 600 days. Fluttery Chicken with 1,050. Sincere Seeker 6 with 1,100 days. Prince It with 1,150 days. Elroy OMJ with 2,050 days. And celebrating their anniversaries, Ben L72 with a 2-year anniversary. And Sincere Seeker 6 with a 3-year anniversary.
In Gamerscore, Mr. P-Tart has hit 500,000. Michael KV, 600,000. Prue has hit 1.2 million Gamerscore along with Drunken Monkeys. Sangreas has hit 3.1 million Gamerscore. And Redemption Denied has hit 3.7 million Gamerscore.
In leaderboards, EMZ Fergie is now in the top 10,000 commas, maybe 10,000? Yes, of the Gamerscore leaderboard. And she is also in the top 50,000 of the achievements completion percentage leaderboard. Rutrek has been on a tear with 4 different leaderboard entries. We've got the top 200 of the Europe True Achievement leaderboard for role-playing, very specific. Top 50 of the max possible completion percentage leaderboard for turn-based. Top 50 of the TA difference leaderboard for turn-based. And the top 500 Gamerscore leaderboard for role-playing. I'm guessing he's been playing quite a lot of turn-based role-playing games. High Road V2 is now top 200 tier difference leaderboard for skateboarding. Johnny Delicious, top 20,000 completed games leaderboard for adventure. Good man. Mike Pitch is the top 100 Gamerscore leaderboard for Windows Phone. Hang on a sec.
I thought that was down.
Someone got removed.
Oh, I see. So
He found a way.
Moved up the leaderboard by default. Right. Northern Lass is in the top 50 TA difference leaderboard for point and click. Lovely, brilliant stuff. Rocker Dude is in the top 2,000 True Achievement leaderboard for competitive ratio, which I believe is any game over a 1.2 counts. Is that correct? Not all that competitive, if you ask me. Septic Earl is the third in New Hampshire for both Gamerscore and True Achievement.
Nice.
And in brags this week, because this one was just so out there, there might have been others, and hopefully Big Ell will pick them up next week if there were. We have Mental Knight 5, who did a crazy thing. And then he did it even more. Back in May of 2022, he spent 11 hours doing the desert limo that you only have to do for how many hours? 8? Is it 8?
13. Yeah. It's a lot. It's stupid.
I think it's 8. And he did 11 because
why?
Because he's mental. Because he's Mental Knight. Then 2 months later, he took 3 days off work in July to try to beat his record for staring at the desert limo in roundabout while twiddling his stick. And he made it 9.5 before he tried to have a snack, and then he messed up. Now, you may ask yourself, why is he doing this? And the reason he's doing this is because he wants Vulgar, while he's doing his extra life, to play Desert Limo and then just be surprised why Mental Knight has the top spot and why he's doing it more than, I think it's 8 hours. Let's just say more than 8 hours. Well, in September of last year, he went for it again. But since he's no spring chicken, he actually started to doze off a couple times for the last half hour. And that ended up being a 24-hour, 2 minutes, and almost 19-second run. He is he's ranked number 1. You don't question the number 1.
He's number 1. It's like Smitty Werman Jaegerman, Jensen.
He's the best.
He's mental.
He's the best at Desert Limo. So congratulations for that. I don't think anyone's going to be challenging you for that unless I can teach my nephew, and then I will steal it from you.
Unfortunately, you can't. It randomizes the drift.
Oh, but it rumbles when you're about to go off the road, from what I understand. So I might be able to program it. Just saying, there's a chance.
I mean, good job. At the same time, why?
Because it's there.
If there's a leaderboard, someone will try to get to the top of it. Good job, Mental. I don't get it. Good job.
It's a brag, that's for sure.
It's definitely a brag. It is most definitely a brag. All right. Well, that will do it for us this week. As always, you can check out all of our all the links to all of our socials, link to the Discord, Patreon, YouTube, Twitch. It'll be down in the show notes. We have a doc with it all. Make it nice and simple for everyone. Chewie, it was nice having you.
It was lovely to be here. Thank you for having me. We should do it again sometime. Next time, the time differences work out. Daylight savings.
Yeah.
Times.
That was great.
That was 6 months. It'll be the next time the clocks change.
Daylight savings is so annoying, but at least this is one silver lining that comes from it.
It's a bit of a window. Maybe we can make it happen.
But yes. Thank you all for listening. See you all next week. Class is dismissed.
Bye.
Hello and welcome to Cooperation Nation, the show where me and Ahizo talk about games we played cooperatively. I'm Vulgar Latin, and with me is Ahizo.
How's it going?
I don't know why I slipped into an announcer voice. That was weird.
We were talking about WWE, and you just had that on your mind.
We're talking about Escape Academy, a Game Pass game that is about escape rooms, cooperative escape rooms. It's pretty good.
It was. I was really impressed. When you had initially asked me about it, if it was something I had any intention of playing, it was kind of I've never done an escape room in real life, but I always liked the idea. So it was sort of it had my interest, but it wasn't anything I was particularly excited about. But once we started to get into it, it was really good. It was not as good as It Takes Two, but I had that same feeling of it was way more than I expected from it. I was very pleased.
It's a first-person puzzle game. You can play it by yourself or cooperatively. And for most people that are listening to this, I'd imagine you just did it. There's a walkthrough on TA. It says it's 1 to 2 hours. That's if the solutions for these are static. So once you know the answer to the room, it's not like it regenerates or changes the answers up. You're always going to have the same answers. So if you use that for the walkthrough, you're going to get all the achievements very quickly, but I think you're going to miss a really good time.
Yeah, I will say that's the only thing that I would actually call a genuine negative with this game, for me at least. Not saying it was perfect otherwise or anything like that, but that's the only thing I would necessarily call bad, is that I do wish there was a bit more of a random element to it. Maybe, even if it's just like, oh, the combinations to the locks change and where you find it could be in one of 3 places. There's some puzzles you couldn't really randomize and they kind of had to be static, but I wish they had a mix so that you could play it through a second time with someone else and not just already know what you're doing. That was kind of the sticking point for me. But being that it was both of our first times playing, that wasn't an issue for our run.
No, and it also made cleanup for achievements pretty straightforward.
It did. We had to run back to a couple levels and we just pulled up the solutions because we couldn't remember it off the top of our head.
Yeah, like there's a collectible, so there's about 10-ish levels?
That sounds about right.
That each have their own collectible inside them, their newspapers that you got to find. And then there's some other missables, though I think like a few of them we just accidentally got for like solving specific puzzles in under a set amount of moves. I think you got one that was like that.
Yeah, there's a few for solving puzzles at certain speeds, or solving. I think there was 1 or 2 for solving an entire escape room at a certain speed. And that's what most of them are. Like most of it is just general progression. I think every level had one for beating it, and then you've got one for beating every level without using a hint, and in between levels, you can talk to people at the school because it is an actual escape academy. Like you're at a school all about escape rooms because, those are all over the place.
Well, the idea is that you're supposed to be like spies or whatever, like high-tech spies, and the all of the different rooms are things in the academy that will try to kill you.
Yeah.
is the thing. Like it's being filled up with water or poison gas. Or
that was
some
one thing
innocuous
that I
ones.
really liked that I did not expect was there's an actual plot to this game. It's not just, hey, here's a bunch of escape rooms and you're at a school and they have them. This was like an actual storyline with good guys and bad guys and betrayal and a villain, and it just unfolds over time. And I did not see that coming at all. Like I really thought it was just going to be like, here's a bunch of rooms to try and escape from. So I liked that.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked that aspect of it as well. Like the story, having something to kind of tie everything together really helped. And while and they tried their best to make the variety good and also the puzzle variety. Like it's possible to skip over whole puzzles, which we did, but it'll actually explain like how you did it. So there's some we accidentally like found the correct solution even though we weren't supposed to. And then it's like, oh yeah, that's how you're supposed to figure it out. But I think it was very rare that we were just like, okay, wait, how are we actually supposed to do this one?
Yeah.
Like I think we were able to solve it most of the time on our own.
Yeah, I don't think we ever actually looked up a solution for anything. But yeah, there definitely were times where they had that little recap at the end, which I liked. They not only told you what you solved, what you didn't, they gave you a specific timestamp. So they listed off like every single puzzle in that level, and they told you how long from the start of the level it took you to solve that step, and then it would tell you, oh, you didn't solve this one at all. And I think there was once or twice where we probably just couldn't. There's probably one or two puzzles where we just couldn't figure out what to do, and we kind of guessed at a combination or something. But there were definitely some where we just thought we had the answer, and turns out we did. But there was like 3 steps in between we were supposed to do to really figure it out that we just didn't know about. And that always makes you feel a little good when you're like, wow, I didn't even guess that. Like I actually, utilize what I had found in the puzzle, the clues and all that. There was just even more they wanted to give me to push me in that direction.
Yeah, some of them you can pick up the breadcrumbs, and sometimes they give you a whole loaf of bread instead of crumbs. There you go. Really hit you over the head over it, which, it's neither good nor bad. And as for the co-op front, I think there's very few that are like, in terms of like, you need to have a co-op partner. I think you can do the whole thing. There's one. Here's one for solving something with a partner.
Right.
Do stuff with a partner, trade stuff. But for the most part, you could play through this whole game by yourself. You could also use the guide. I'd say don't. Have fun. Like, take some time. Use the brain space. Solve some puzzles.
Yeah, I agree. The time estimate on TA says 1 to 2 hours, but that's definitely using the guide. It really doesn't add a ton of time to not use it, and it's a lot of fun. I would say ours was probably 5.5 to 6 hours total, if I had to take a guess at it. Our estimate is 5 hours, but we both had the same amount of time despite you playing it a little before me, so it had to have been a bit more than that. But it's not super long. You could bang it out in a day if you really wanted to, or you can do what we did and play, an hour or two for a few different sessions.
Yep, just 1 or 2 rooms at a time, and
because you will burn yourself out on it. It's a good game, but the general concept is a little repetitive. The puzzles themselves are unique, but you're still just solving an escape room after an escape room after an escape room. And I personally, if you're going to do it legit, I do not recommend doing it in one sitting.
Yeah, like here, go look for all these things, find them, put them in specific places.
Exactly.
That kind of thing. Yeah. And it also has a DLC that is way too overpriced for not having any achievements. So
yeah, it is one. I will say I haven't actually looked into how many levels it adds. I want to say it was like 5 to 8, somewhere in that range when it advertised it on the menu. But for me, I I think if it got down to like $5, I think I would buy that DLC in a heartbeat.
I would too, and play through it. But 10 is just really hard to justify without some achievements. In it.
If it was $5, I would certainly be contacting you and saying, hey, let's give it a shot, because it is fun. Like I said, you don't want to do a lot of it at once, but it's really good in bite-sized sessions. You could tell they did put a lot of care into it. They did a really good job of keeping everything unique. I like the art style. They definitely made a really good effort.
Yeah, and I don't think we even ever failed either, because you have like time limits and stuff. I don't think we ever failed a puzzle.
No, I don't think so. I think there were some where we came, because the time allocations you get, they're pretty generous. I think the shortest one is probably 15 minutes or something, and they go up to like 40. I think the last mission we were given 35 or 40
like an hour.
Minutes. Yeah, and we finished it in like 20, I think, 25. So it still takes a good bit of time, but they're very generous in the amount of time that they give you. So if you do play, I wouldn't be too worried about that. If you get to the point where you're just a couple minutes away from running out of time, try and pick up the pace a bit, but I wouldn't be too worried about it. You shouldn't have much issue completing it within that time if you're not going to have an issue with it at all.
And as the cooperative, it's also like it's split screen, but you can turn off the split screen, which is nice.
Yes, that.
Or sometimes you can keep it, which is helpful. It makes actually the puzzle solving really easy.
Yeah, that was something that was very nice coming off the back of our It's Take Two run, where it's forced split screen. I really liked being able to run around with the full screen dedicated to what I could see, what I was doing. But if there were points where one of us had to be in a room where the solution was, and the other person had to be in a different room where you were actually inputting the code, it was nice to turn on that split screen. So instead of you trying to relay everything to me, I could just pull it up and I could just see what you're looking at, or you could see what I was looking at.
Mm-hmm. And we could just solve it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was something I very much like, because I know that was something I had mentioned as a sticking point for me with It Takes Two, was I didn't care for the forced split screen. So I liked having the option to turn it on when it was helpful and to turn it off when it was kind of an annoyance.
For sure. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, a bit of a shorter one for the Escape Academy, but I'd say, give it a go. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
It is on Game Pass. So 99% of the people listening are going to, have access to it. It's normally $20.
$20,
which is a bit much for me. My recommended price kind of varies based on what your goal is. If you're just going to cheese your way through it for the points and look up solutions and everything, I wouldn't pay more than $5 for it. If you're going to go solo and do it legit, I'd say 10. If you're going to do it with a partner, though, which is totally worth it, I'd go up to like 15. But I think 20 pushes it just a hair over the line for me.
There's also there's a season pass in here for 15. So they might be adding even more.
So it's
very possible that we might get more stuff. Either that or they're just giving us the worst deal in the history of deals.
Oh, yeah.
So it's possible that we're going to be outdated here.
Yeah, it looks like it actually says the second one is available spring 2023. It is Escape from the Past. And each one has 5 new rooms.
So who knows? Maybe I'll pick up the season pass then.
I was about to say, for $7.50, you might be able to convince me to just grab them.
You could probably get
it's a good
get me
time.
in on that.
Yeah.
So highly recommend it.
Definitely.
Very good game.
Play it with a partner.
Check it out before.
You can do it solo, but it's a great time.
Just I'll have a party there and then just like discuss what you think the solutions are and where you came from with it. And I think you're going to enjoy it.
And also importantly, it does have local multiplayer, which is great. If you've got a partner or, a sibling or whoever happens to live with you, local play, it has co-op. The stuff's only going to unlock for the host, but everything, everything can be done with that. So if you're playing with someone who couldn't care less, just make sure you're player one, and you can do that local, which seems to be more and more of a rarity.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like it's also a Windows game too. So
it is, yeah,
and crossplay. So
I didn't realize it had crossplay.
Okay,
well, that's good.
Yeah, even more reasons to
I'm not
just go for
you
it.
Got even more options to play it. Yeah.
And I imagine it's 2 gigs, like it'd run on a potato. It's not like super graphically intensive. So
you're not going to have any trouble with this one unless your computer's older than I am. You should be fine.
Yeah. So that's it. Yeah, Escape Academy. Check it out. Escape from some rooms. Let us know what you think.
Definitely recommend
if you do decide to go the non-cheese route, let us know if you thought of the puzzles. Somewhere on the internet.
And if you do decide to go the cheese route, then let us know so we can mock you.
Yeah, mercilessly.
Yes. As would be deserved.
All right. Yeah. So that's it. Cooperation Nation. Number, I forget the number. But until next time, I'm Vulgar Latin.
We'll see you guys later.
Yeah. See you later. Bye.